What's up, everybody? KleverKrok back for another week. I think it's week 7 of the GTA. And this week, I have a guest analyst in the coach of the Richmond Raikous, aka Jasperious. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, just ready to talk about these great matches.
I know, this week, I know I've probably said this like the past 3 weeks, and it probably doesn't hold the same weight, but I really think the matches are getting so much better each week, and there were some really good matches this week. So,
Yeah, I definitely have to agree. There was only one sweep, I will say that, and the rest were really contested.
yeah, I agree. So, we'll go ahead and jump into the first match, which is between the Cincinnati Charizards and the Maple Grove Gengars. And looking at the teams, I know Mega Sharpedo kind of runs through the Gengar's team. I mean, Crawdon's the only thing that resists both of its stab attacks, but it's kind of frail. So, I don't know. I think having Mega Sharpedo in this way, I'm pretty sure he can run through everything here, and I won't spoil what happens because that would stink. But I'm just looking at the Gengar's lineup to see if there's anything he could have brought that would have resisted Sharpedo's attacks. And it looks like Gastrodon may have been a good option for a physical wall because of Storm Drain. It would have at least been able to, kind of mess around with having immunities to those things. Chestnut's also a good option here. Yeah, it's it's weak to Sylveon. Sylveon puts in the work also against the Charizard's team. The only thing being Victini that really resists its main attacks, but Spec Sylveon really does a lot of work here too. Xatu, unfortunately, really kind of doesn't match up well against the Charizard's team in this matchup, but is needed, obviously, for getting rid of hazards and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and start it and let Jasperious talk so you guys can go ahead and start watching it.
All right, so he leads off with Victini, and the Gengars lead with Espeon, and I guess Fihad didn't really like where it was going with the Victini, so he switched out to Espeon, and then a good Hyper Voice does quite a bit of damage. Not enough to actually, two-shot it, but it still does quite a lot. I don't think I would have protected, honestly. I think I would have just kept Hyper Voicing and just see where it went. And then he ended up wishing it a Selgor, and a Selgor took a lot of damage. I don't actually know. I can't see. I think Isildur got all the way back to full from the wish. Oh, he baton passed? Yeah, oh yeah, he agility and then he
baton passed. Oh,
and then that's yeah, the Chestnut started just belly drummed, which if you notice, he didn't set off his item because he's at 51%. He lost 49.9% of his health, and I definitely talked to the coach after the game, and I was like, you need to spec your health to make sure that happens.
Yeah.
The only thing that prevented this from being a 6-0 with Chestnut, I don't know if you're there yet, is the Mega Steelix. The Mega Steelix was lucky enough to live that Drain Punch and just roar it out and just prevent something from happening. Because there was no way he was breaking the sub.
Oh,
so the only hope was to just get it out. And then Tyranitar got that last kill. And then, of course, the Citrus Berry ended up getting used once the Crawdon decided to Crab Hammer a couple of times. But all in all, that was the only sweep. It was a good game. Definitely unexpected from the Charizards. But that's really what a Selgor is good for, is to just pass stuff along to slow mons.
Yeah, instead of
And I mean, yeah. I mean, the Bug Buzz is nice, but the Bug Buzz wasn't going to do much against the Gengar's team, except for maybe Crawdaunt.
Yeah. Also, I was teasing the coach of the Charizards after that because I know I've trolled people with the belly drum chestnut before. And I was like, you stole my... But, like, really, it was so unique and it worked so well. The only thing that, like, I think the Gengars kind of let it happen, in my opinion, even though he executed it really well. I think he should have just spammed Hyper Voice, whether it was Specs or just Modest, and just spammed that because, sound moves like Hyper Voice hit through Substitute, so that would have ended the Chestnut right then and there, rather than giving up his entire team to it. So,
Yeah, it definitely would have been better for him not to switch out and for him to just keep going.
yeah, because Hyper Voice just hits everything so hard until Victini comes in. There was really no
Yeah,
reason
the
he
only thing
should
that
have,
resisted
like, stalled the way he did.
is Victini.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was
But
a good match. Good on both sides. You could tell that both of them were executing things that they had prepared for as far as their strategies go. I think ultimately what happened on the Gengar side is they didn't know how to interact with the strategy they were not expecting from the Charizards, I think.
played a little too defensively with the Protect as well.
Yeah, agreed. He let him set up. Alright, well, we'll go ahead and go on to the next match, which is between the Mucks and the Krookodiles. Jasperious.
All right, one thing I really like is the Jolteon, just because he's gonna bring Electros. He's brought Electros for like 3 seasons now. He just loves that thing, and Jolteon really nullifies the electric stab on it. Uh, I like the The Volcarona is great. You saw last week, Volcarona just obliterates teams. Donphan, good for setting up and getting rid of stuff. And then you see the bird spam. A lot of stealth rock weakness, but that's why Donphan's there. One mon that I really just don't know why it was brought was Malamar, or Malamar, as some people call him. U-turn from Torn T just destroys it.
Yeah.
And it was just not... I wouldn't have brought it. It wasn't optional or optimal, in my opinion. But a lot of Pokemon do a lot of work. It's just Malamar. That's the only one I really see causing issues.
Yeah, I think what I was most concerned about was the Mega Aerodactyl and the Volcarona, because I knew I could get away with 3 electric weaknesses by bringing 2 immunities and being able to capitalize on it. And I brought Specs to Jolteon for the first time this week, and it put in the work. So I'll go ahead and start the match. But I think I honestly was not expecting him to start with Malamar, so that kind of scared me a little bit. But I realized that because Superpower isn't stab, even at +2, like, I don't have to worry too much. So I just first of all, he went for Protect, which was kind of weird. He should have just gone for another attack. So I whirlwinded him out and nullified his attacks. I was just like, okay, well, Snorlax is coming in. Nothing can really affect Skarmory with Snorlax, so I'm going to set up hazards. And then Aerodactyl comes in. I'm like, oh, that's fine. He might get off hazards. He might go for an attack. I'll switch in Jolteon. And I was like, I'm fine with if he goes for Earthquake, but he didn't. He decided to set up Rocks, so he lost his Mega. And I went into Donphan, and I went for the Stealth Rocks instead because I knew that, like, Rocks didn't kill me, and I really needed to get up my Rocks in order to have a chance of being able to take down that Volcarona. So I just dealt with the fact that I needed, or that basically I would be taking Rocks damage because I could deal with that a bit more. So I just kind of U-turn and Volt Switch around here, trying to get a better position. He was putting good offense on me, and that Porygon 2 was scary until I knocked off with with my Torn T, which wouldn't have lived if it wasn't Assault Vest. But he got the lucky defense drop on my Skarmory, which kind of stunk. But here I just switch out. He went for Drain Punch, which was a good prediction on his part. But I knew I would be excuse me. But I knew I would be fine, with that. So I pivoted into my Gardevoir here. And I think I was like, okay, I'll go for Sub to see what he does. I think I went for Sub. No, I just went straight for Hyper Voice. I got the crit, which, to clarify, it wouldn't have mattered because then I just would have gone for Psyshock after that to get the kill. So I just spam Hyper Voice at this point, and it just sweeps the rest of the team because Snorlax was the only thing that could really take damage from Gardevoir. Well, I mean, Porygon 2 as well, but getting rid of that really set me up to get rid of it. Now, I guess this Volcarona was just a slow, high defensive set because I was not expecting Psyshock to do such little damage. So that almost could have been a bad thing if the rocks weren't up because he could have Quiver Danced once or twice and then taken out my Gardevoir even if I was behind, a substitute. So it could have changed very quickly. I knew that if I kept Honchkrow in the back, I could bring him in for a Sucker Punch on the Volcarona as well. So as long as it was like, I think 75% health or less, I'd be able to take it out. So I knew that I needed to just prepare, for his setup answers by bringing priority. And I would have a way of getting rid of that at the very least. I don't think he should have let his Aerodactyl go down. He probably should have switched. But I don't think he drafted an electric immunity, which I have talked about previously. Yeah, he doesn't have an electric immunity, which is kind of a big deal in my opinion. As you could see, like I was able to just manipulate like the switch initiative consistently with Volt Switch and U-Turn. And you can't really stop U-Turn, but you can stop Volt Switch. So me being able to just get a free fast Volt Switch off was really important for setting up, or getting Gardevoir in on a Pokemon it could take out. So it was a good match overall, but I think there was just, like one thing that really stunk was just, like I said, no electric immunity, and then also letting your only hazard removal go down as well. So
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with that. Aerodactyl was a must keep. Does he have another way of hazard removal besides Aerodactyl?
no, Aerodactyl's the only one.
Yeah, then you have to keep Aerodactyl alive, especially against the Donphan that can just Stealth Rock until you hit it with Ice Beam.
Yeah.
Which is what happens, but it was a little too late at that point.
Yeah, it was a smart move though when he had Porygon 2 in to just go for the damage because I had Cussed Out Berry and I was like, I could have gone for Rapid Spin and then set up rocks, but he was smart to go ahead and get rid of that, so I had to choose one or the other. So I had to choose the lesser of two evils, in a sense, for the long run.
But yeah, it was a good game. Good game.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and go on to the next match, which is between the between the Wobbuffets and the New England Parasects. Looking at the team, Swoobat's pretty good here as far as speed goes. I'm pretty sure it outspeeds all of his team. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it outspeeds most of his team. Heliolisk also looks good here except for Lightning Rod Raichu. And then the Barbarical puts in a lot of work too against his team. Slowbro walls it kind of if it's not set up too far, but other than that it kind of sweeps the rest of his team. Looking on the other side, the Togekiss looks good. No, I take that back. I like the Slowbro though. Slowbro with Regenerator and everything can put in some decent work. I don't think there's much else that stands out to me about the Parasec's team, though. So I'll go ahead and start it, and I'll let Jasperious talk about the match.
One thing that we've consistently seen from the Parasec's is the really special set on the Wigglytuff. Unfortunately, Knockoff nullified that and just gets the poor Wigglytuff just gets destroyed by the Tentacruel. It's really back and forth, honestly. The poor Gligar. It took so much damage on the HP ice. It's still trucking through. I actually really like Gligar, and it's kind of cool to see both Gliscor and Gligar go up against each other.
Yeah, I agree.
One thing, does he do it this game? Does he actually? When he does the Swoobat with the Calm Mind,
Oh yeah,
it's just
that happens.
terrible. You just can't stop it.
It's too fast.
Until the
that's
nuzzle.
The problem.
Oh, it's so bad. I think the Raichu had to be scarfed to outspeed the Swoobat.
Yeah, it had to be.
Cause Swoobat's base 114 and Raichu's 100. Unless he was running a really slow Swoobat.
Raichu's 110, but it's still not enough.
Oh, was it 110? I thought it was 100.
No, they buffed it
My
after
bad.
Gen 5 to 110.
Oh, my bad. But still, he's got a. Oh, and then it has the citrus berry.
Yeah.
But yeah, once Shoop goes down, it gets a lot more competitive. But it's kind of just a little too late at that point. You got to figure out a way to get rid of that Swoobat. All in all, it was a good match, and Tentacruel did a lot to the Parasec's.
Yeah,
I like that. I like the Tentacruel bring. It also brings nice rapid spin.
Yeah, Tentacruel's a beast. One thing that I was wondering about was why he went for Psyshock on the Swoobat when he could have just gone for Scald and did more damage. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, even with the boosts, it probably still would have done at least a little bit more damage, rather than Psyshock. But
Psyshock, it's psychic resist psychic.
yeah. Yeah, the other thing is, and this is just kind of a general suggestion that I may have mentioned before, is bringing the same sets, even on one Pokemon each week, can be dangerous because it's easier to predict what you're going to do, and that's exactly how this match started, was doing Solar Beam, which wouldn't even had he just gone for Sludge Wave instead of Knockoff, he would have gone for Sludge Wave and it would have either one-shotted, and Solar Beam in no universe would have one-shotted the Tentacruel. So as far as doing that was just kind of throwing away Pokemon to begin with, even if it didn't turn out that way. So all the Wobbuffets really did was save damage being dealt because he was able to predict that he would just go for Power Herb Solar Beam. So don't bring the same stuff every week, especially if it's a very niche set like Power Herb.
Yeah, that's definitely the problem that I'm having with my matches, where my team is just so static. I just have to change moves, or else I lose synergy.
Yeah. But you have a really strong team, so that's your upside.
Yeah, but it was a really good match.
It was a good match.
Yeah, all my
it
definitely picks.
It definitely ended closer than I thought it would after watching the first couple turns. Which, I would say is props to the Parasec's, because I think the Wobbuffets could have won a lot faster earlier, but they didn't. So he at least made it a closer match and didn't lose as much differential out of it. So.
Oh yeah, the momentum build up.
Yeah, as far as the matchup goes, like the 3 water types really, really hurt. Like Raichu. I don't know, I feel like Raichu is his only way of being able to handle most of that team, but with Gliscor around, he couldn't mess with that stuff yet. So having 3 water types ended up working out for him, even though it could have been disastrous. So.
Oh yeah. It was good team building.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll go ahead and go on to the next match, which is between the Alakazam Apparitions and the Haunted Honages. Jasperious.
Speaking of bringing the same set every week, the Alakazams haven't really changed up their team at all. As far as I know, he might be changing moves, but it looks like the same 6 Pokemon every time, which, I mean, you have 4 just phenomenal Pokemon, and then Hard Body, as a certain Poke-Aim likes to call him, just walls everything. Uh, Sceptile is actually kind of okay in this situation, I think. It's faster than Dragonite. It it takes, if it's physical, it takes out Slowking. You're not beating Alakazam with it, though. So I kind of like Sceptile in this situation. It's more advantageous than in other situations.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, did have a really solid core though, and it's just really hard to break it without playing to your advantage, playing smart, playing cautious.
Mm-hmm.
Excadrill does a lot from on the Casgrins, the Honedges. Excadrill does a lot of damage, especially if it's scarved.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I like the Alakazam's team. We need more movement. We need different Pokemon to come in to add some variety. Because if you're bringing the same 6, it's easier to predict, like with my team. And those darn HP Ices on Lando.
Yeah. I would say Thundurus looks really good here, despite the 2 ground types. Especially if it's scarfed, it can really do a lot of damage. If not scarfed, I still think it gets agility, and agility life orb is pretty scary too. But I think ultimately what happens, unless this is the match from last week that I remember, I'm pretty sure the problem I see in this match for the Alakazams, no, that was last week. Okay, never mind. I was going to say that he brought stock sets from Smogon, which isn't bad, really. It's more of a... Oh, hold on. I'm going to pause it so I can finish this thought and go back. So it's not a bad thing to bring stock sets, like looking up on Smogon, like what are some popular good sets, but in this, you know what... So like Smogon sets, those are built for the ladder, and you never know who specifically you're going to be facing in each match. They're built for the best case scenario of the common Pokemon in the meta. Outside of that, in something like the Draft League, like the GTA, they're not bad sets, but they're not tailored to the Pokemon that you're expecting your opponent to bring. Worst case, you know that you have to prepare for 12 Pokemon in your set. Best case, you have to prepare for 6, or less than that, depending on how you're preparing your team. So bringing stock sets can be okay, but usually is not going to work out that great, and that happened last week for the Alakazam Apparitions. But this week, I can't tell because the Reuniclus went down sooner than expected. But then the one other thing is on turn... What is it? Turn 7. He got lucky and got a miss and went for Pursuit. Okay, I can see why he would have gone for Pursuit, because really the Honedges should have switched, because it could do a ton of damage. Had he gone for like knockoff, that would have knocked out the Alakazam. So that was a bit of a dangerous thing to keep it in. However,
Yeah, I would have ended it.
yeah, however, because it missed, he should have just gone for Ice Shard, because I know it wasn't choiced. He should have just gone for Ice Shard, and he would have taken out the Alakazam there. And the Alakazam was pivotal in this match. So that was a bit rough as far as that goes. I would have gone for Leaf Storm as well, instead of Dragon Pulse. I think that ended up being kind of unfortunate for the Alakazams, because they didn't get the damage that they needed on the Excadrill before the Earthquakes took it out, or the Iron Head and Earthquake. Again, I've seen this happen a couple times as well with the Azumarill. I know Huge Power is by far and large the more preferable ability on Azumarill, but don't forget about Sap Sipper, because that's an immunity that you can have on grass types, which is very uncommon. In addition to the fact Azumarill is usually weak to that, and if you know that your opponent's going to bring something that has a grass attack, bring Sap Sipper. That's going to catch them so off guard, you could still get a Belly Drum off and still do tons of damage even without Huge Power. So I honestly thought that's where he should have done that, because you would also be getting a boost from it, and losing Azumarill I think was also an important turn in the match, because Aqua Jet would have taken out the Alakazam, Play Rough would have taken out the Dragonite, and Play Rough would have done tons of damage to the Slowking, and then Waterfall or Play Rough on the Torterra. So losing that, I think, is where it was kind of the nail in the coffin, in my opinion. Now, of course, Heatran still can do pretty good without the Torterra around, but Slowking just walls both stab attacks from Heatran, so he couldn't do all that much. I would have just kept Heatran in instead of taking all that damage on your Thundurus, especially if it's Scarfed, which it wasn't. But I guess at this point it really didn't matter all that much anyways, because the Alakazam just kind of sweeps here with Focus Blast and Psychic or Psyshock. So a couple key misplays, with the Ice Shard on Weavile. I shouldn't have said that I know. I'm pretty sure it wasn't, based on the damage. I don't think it would have been Scarfed, and I think based on the damage it wasn't, it wasn't banded. That's what I'm thinking of, banded. So it must have been Expert Belt or something else, but I think that would have changed the match, because Ice Shard at the end here, where even if you had to switch out your Weavile for whatever reason, if that was in the back, Ice Shard would have finished off Dragonite, Torterra, and Alakazam all very easily, especially without Life Orb damage. Like, that would have destroyed all three of them. So, in my opinion, had he preserved Weavile and maybe Azumarill, that would have been it. Like, the match would have been decided. He would have easily been able to win. But regardless, it was still a very close match, and it was a very good match. And I think both sides played really well. I think there was some mistakes on both sides, like leaving the Alakazam in and switching in the Weavile on a Focus Blast. Maybe that's not when it was switched in, but just, like small in-game decision things that can be tweaked. But I think they brought decent teams as far as lineup goes for this match. So
Yeah, it was really good. And also, I calced even if you were to run Sap Sipper on Azumarill, if you were running it Adamant, its attack after a Belly Drum would still be 872. And that's a lot.
yeah,
It's a good amount of damage you're doing.
it is. It definitely
And then
is.
a Pursuit on a Mega Alakazam, if the Weavile is Jolly, with a Life Orb, does 91.2 to 108.7% damage. So it obviously wasn't Life Orb.
Yeah, there was no Life Orb damage on it. So
And it definitely wasn't
It wasn't banded. Yeah, banded would have taken it out, and it wasn't scarfed. Well, I'm just assuming it wasn't scarfed. I don't think that's a very uncommon thing for Weavile, and I know that the apparitions like to use more common sets, which is fine, but that's why I'm thinking it's not scarfed. So it must have been Expert
Well, if it
Belt
would have
or
been
something.
Scarfed, it would have outsped Alakazam.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it definitely wasn't scarfed then.
So I don't know what it was, but if it would have been Life Orb, it would have had a good chance. It might have been Extra Belt, or Expert Belt, not Extra Belt.
An extra belt. That's all I needed was an extra belt, I guess. But either way,
Right.
it was a good match. overall. Both sides played really well. So we'll go ahead and go on to the next match and the final match between the Charmillionaires and the Richmond Raikous. Looking at the teams, Cloister just kind of, except for Scizor, destroys the Raikous team like Cloister usually does without steel types on the opponent's team. So Cloister is really scary in this lineup. Um, Venusaur, I don't know. I don't see Venusaur doing a lot of work in this, in this match based on the team preview. Hitmonlee could put in some work if Landorus is gone and has the fake out normal gem on burden stuff. But other than that, I mean, I think the Raikous have the overall stronger team in this team preview. So, Jasperious?
Hey, I just want to point out that you guys should stop bringing HP Ice on weird Pokemon so Lando doesn't go down first turn like it has the second time. I definitely was expecting Cloister. Like, you should bring Cloister all the time. Unless it's really unadvantageous for you to bring Cloister, you should always bring it just in case you just get a random Shell Smash off. It was a really, really hard fought match. One of the biggest issues I had was that I forgot that Clefable didn't have Unaware on. It was a Magikarp Clefable, so I was lucky that it wasn't doing over 20% damage, or else that would have been game over for me.
Yeah.
A surprising thing, I wasn't expecting Latios to. Well, I was expecting Latios to definitely take out Aromatisse. That was pretty much the whole reason I brought Psyshock, because I know that Aromatisse is especially defensive. I've seen it in previous weeks, and I was just like, oh, hey, Psyshock is great. I wasn't expecting it to kill the Mew. I don't know if you're there yet. Mew did a lot of work on my team, and it was really a good Pokemon to bring. He took out Volcanion and Serperior, and I'm lucky that I was faster than it and got a glare off, and I'm also lucky that it was paralyzed, or the Ice Beam would have, I don't know, yeah, the ice or whatever move he would have used on Latios would have done a lot of damage. I stopped for a moment once I brought Latios in against the Mew, and I calculated I had to see if Psyshock was going to kill it. It didn't. I went for the Draco. I'm lucky it hit, because there's a lot of chances that I took, and it was such a hard fought game, such a good game. I was so nervous. I was shaking the entire time. I thought it was over as soon as Galvantula took out Scizor.
Yeah.
As you can tell by my Des GG. But I forgot about Psyshock, and I think that he should have brought Fake Out, Normal Gem, all those shenanigans. If he would have brought that, he would have definitely won. I don't know what else he brought, but if he would have brought that was game.
Yeah, when there's a Pokemon that can hit hard on the physical side and has Fake Out, it's hard not to bring Fake Out, because it's just good for so many different reasons. And then, like, get that free Unburden boost in that last ditch effort. I feel like he should have brought that last week too against me, because I feel like it would have put in work, but he had different plans, it seemed like, which is fine. It's not like you can see that will be needed in the specific scenarios that play out ahead of time, but it's still, hindsight is 20/20, I suppose.
Yeah, I think it's just free damage.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. Unless you run up against a Lucario.
Also, was that Clefable fully physically defensive, or?
It was fully physically defensive. That was the only good thing I did about that darn Clefable. It was full HP and full defensive.
So if he was adamant at +2, he still wouldn't have taken you out with Magic Guard. So Unaware would have helped, but you were definitely, like, without Like, without a crit, he wouldn't have been able to take you out, so.
Whew. It was still really risky.
Yeah, yeah.
But I feel like the game changer was really Mew on his team.
Yeah,
I mean,
Mew really stopped the tempo that you had. Which is what he needed at that point. He needed to slow you down like that in order to have a chance. But
oh yeah. I'm also a little surprised he didn't have Sticky Web on his Galvantula, because that would have made a ton of difference. At least
he probably didn't, because he looked at Landorus and Latias and just was like, I don't know. I know it would have, given the scenario, but like, Volcanian's somewhat easy to outspeed, so really it was just if you had a max speed Scizor and then, Superior would have made a difference. So he probably was thinking, like, if he brings these, guys, which he may or may not have predicted, he probably didn't think it would be worth it. Or maybe he had it and he just didn't see the opportunity.
That too. It was just little things that I see. It was a great game either way. It was the closest game I've played this season.
Yeah, it was a really good match.
I'm so happy I finally beat him.
There was a first time.
It could have gone either way. Yeah, I know, right? Could have gone either way. I'm happy it turned out in my favor, but it was a great game nonetheless, and it didn't really hurt or hinder, or it didn't really hinder or help us in much ways besides determining who is the top seed of the division right now.
Right. Which I think you still would have been the top seed, but it solidified it. So, as far as that goes, that's all the matches for this week. And like we said, really, really good matches. Some really close ones. Some ones that seemed more one-sided, but it was just because of a couple, crucial turns. But I think that's usually how it goes, is like a couple small mistakes early on ends up causing the match to fall apart later. So, other than that, we will see you all next week for week 8. Hope to have some more great matches and everything. Hope you guys are getting stuff out of these recap videos, and we will see you all next time.
See ya.
Thanks for watching, guys. If y'all enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like, and if you want, subscribe for more videos. Hope to see y'all in the future, and thank you for watching.